Good evening and thanks for joining us on Nationwide today on the network service of the NTA. I'm Elizabeth Omori. President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated an ultra-modern sports complex built by the Nigerian Navy at Navy Town Ojo in Lagos to enhance the physical fitness of its personnel. The event, which is part of the 12th Nigerian Navy Games, provided opportunity for the naval personnel to showcase their sporting skills. And still staying with sports, Chukwunonso Unwabweze has some sporting stories for us.
Nigeria is firmly in contention for a back-to-back under-19 Boys African Nations Volleyball Championships title in El Jadida, Morocco, after defeating Cameroon 3-1, 18-25, 25-21, 28-26, and 25-16 in the semi-finals on Thursday. The win makes Nigeria the first sub-Saharan African team to reach a second consecutive final in the history of the championship. Ahead of the National Division 1 Handball League in Benin City, Edo State, assurances have been given on the readiness of North Central teams to excel and gain promotion into the professional league next season. This is coming as teams continue to intensify preparations after the just ended North Central Handball League in Makurdi, Benue State.
I think the Handball Federation of Nigeria has a positive step to be able to harness and to be sure now that they have new entrants that they can use as a source of developing the game towards embarking a mission for the country Nigeria.
In tennis, Francis Tiafoe became the first American in 16 years to reach the men's singles semi-finals of the US Open after seeing off Andrei Rublev in straight sets, 7-6, 7-6, 6-4 in the quarterfinals. Tiafoe's semi-final match on Friday is against Carlos Alcaraz, who dismissed Yannick Sinner 3-6, 7-6, 7-6, 5-7, 6-3 in 5 hours 15 minutes. In the women's singles, Iga Swiatek defeated Jessica Pegula 6-3, 7-6 to zoom into the semis. With sports updates, I am Chukwunonso Unwabweze, NTA News.
The security matters. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is being strengthened to implement fully the standard operating procedures in securing critical national assets and infrastructure. Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, handed over operational vehicles to the Corps to improve their operations.
No excuse for failure is the message from the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, to the personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps at the inauguration of 93 operational vehicles to the Corps. Challenges of vandalism of critical national assets and infrastructure, theft of crude and refined oil, banditry, kidnapping, ritual killings, and insurgency are some identified crimes that must be eliminated. The minister tasked the men of the Corps.
We have routed these gangs and individuals in all their main bases and put them on the run. However, we shall not relent, but we must remain absolutely committed towards expatriating them completely from our land.
We also promise to intensify the existing collaboration and synergy with the military and other law enforcement agencies to effectively tackle the effect of insecurity in the country, to engender a safe and secure environment in the country.
The misuse, abuse, neglect, and disuse of operational vehicles by government agencies is unacceptable, the Commandant General observed. The operational vehicles are expected to be distributed to all the states, with more to be procured. In Abuja, Abraman Jibrila, NTA News.
And troops of the Nigerian military have arrested a Boko Haram informant in Asokoro, Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that this and other success stories of the ongoing military operations across the country were announced at the defense headquarters, Abuja.
It's the bi-weekly defense media operations briefing on ongoing armed forces operations across the country. Top on the file is the arrest of a Boko Haram terrorist informant in Asokoro, Abuja, and the rescue of 3 additional Chibok girls abducted on the 14th of April 2014.
The tactical surveillance troops arrested a Boko Haram informant named Malam Umar, aka Bado, in Asokoro, the Federal Capital Territory. It was revealed that the suspect ran errand for a suspected high-profile Boko Haram terrorist commander in Kaduna, who is on the tracking list of security agents. Troops also rescued 3 adopted Chibok girls, namely Jinkia Yama, Falmata Lawal, and Asabe Ali. They were rescued at different locations with their children and 19 other adoptees.
Similarly, a suspected foreign logistics supplier to terrorists has been apprehended in the northeast, while more than 250 terrorists met their Waterloo.
A suspected foreign logistics supplier of arm dealer to Boko Haram terrorists and Islamic State of West African province named Malam Abacha Buka was equally arrested with assorted injections, 20 automated teller machine cards.
In the Niger Delta, troops of Operation Delta Safe upscaled fight against economic sabotage with the arrest of criminals and the activation of illegal refining sites. From the defense headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Still on successes recorded so far, troops of the Nigerian Army on patrol along Kaduna-Zaria Highway have repelled bandits around Fandisho village in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, following credible intelligence on movement of bandits around the corridor. During the encounter, 2 bandits were neutralized while some bandits escaped with gunshot wounds. The Kaduna State government, in a statement, commends troops for their gallantry in dealing decisively with criminal elements. Protection of ex-service personnel from terror sympathizers while naming and shaming terrorism financiers have been noted by guests on Good Morning Nigeria as potent measures required to end what has been an almost endless war on banditry and terrorism. This was while discussing ways to sustain gains of the fight against insecurity. Daniel Adiri tells us more.
You see a lot of widows and orphans roaming about the streets. Some have taken into water hawking, canteen businesses and what have you. So despite the return of relative peace to Maiduguri and other urban parts of Borno State, there is need for intensive intervention in terms of humanitarian assistance.
The war against terrorism rages on, with successes recorded, but there seems to be resurgence in recent times. Discussant, however, notes that, for the successes recorded to be sustained, there must be concerted efforts to procure better and more sophisticated military hardware, which they say may only be possible with an independent and sustainable means of funding for the armed forces.
You cannot get an armed forces at its best with annual budgetary allocation. It's not very possible. And the worst part that people don't understand is that even today, if you bring 1 trillion to budget for the capital of the Nigerian Armed Forces, you are not going to get the equipment to prosecute the war in the next 6 months. If you go out of it, you have to place order and you will be on queue.
UAE jailed about 5 or 6 Nigerians who were connected with financing Boko Haram. Nobody has been jailed in Nigeria who are part and parcel of that. We had a situation that Beirut and Change were closed and the rest. Why are you keeping them secret? Nigerians should know those who are the bad people who parade themselves as either our leaders or parade themselves as the influential business people, and whereas they are crooks. We should know them.
Others pointed out that, while battles are fought on the ground, many more can be won on the cyberspace, which they say is a fertile ground for strategies used by the terrorists.
There is a need for us to enhance intelligence within that cyberspace. There is a concern for me and for a lot of people within the civil society space. How do you empower the security agencies to have eyes and ears within the cyberspace and without using that product to achieve political objectives?
We've discovered that a large chunk number of these miscreants are within the ages of, in their primes, in their late teens and early 20s and 30s. And so we engage them and also create a source of livelihood for them.
They recommend improved synergy and cohesion in intelligence gathering and sharing between security agencies. In Abuja, Daniel Adiriye, NTA News.
And for more on security issues, let's join Hingino in Lagos. Over to you, Hingino.
The Nigerian Army is scaling up its pharmaceutical production capacity to meet world-class standard and mitigate the problem of substandard drugs. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, said this at the groundbreaking ceremony for the joint establishment of a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in Ekpe. Lynn Leneke reports.
Providing adequate health care for officers and men of the Nigerian Army is a topmost priority, considering the recent high-level engagement of various theatres of operations in the country. This joint establishment of pharmaceutical drug manufacturing plant in Ekpe by the Army's leadership is therefore to improve the current status of the Nigerian Army drugs production facility with a view to addressing the chronic problems of shortage as well as the issue of fake and adulterated drugs which personnel and their families face in hospitals.
The partnership will also address the dependence on imports, which will in turn boost the internally generated revenue of Nigerian Army through public state sales and export to nearby countries. This partnership is premised on the huge market and demand already established in the open market and even to some extent governments across the country.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff's intervention in infrastructural development to Nigerian Army schools has extended to the Nigerian Army School of Ordnance, where a newly built and fully furnished 20-bedroom students' officers' hostels, 40 soldiers' dormitories for students of the Nigerian Army Ordnance School, Ekpe, and the regimented Sergeant Major's official residence were inaugurated. Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya reinstated the Army's resolve to complement government's efforts towards the provision of adequate welfare services for Nigerian Army and larger Nigerian society. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
The interception of 20 drums of carbide by the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service is raising questions about the motive behind the importation, which the Customs says could be connected to crimes. But for the avoidance of doubt, the unit is however calling on the importer to come forward with the end-user certificate approved from the Office of the National Security Advisor. Michael Olale reports that apart from this, 10 suspects were also arrested in connection with different import infractions.
The intensity of the rain seems to pose a challenge for smuggling activities, as the once flourishing routes, the waterways, is now impeding their illegal trade. A good instance is these bags of rice intercepted at one of the creeks within the area of responsibility of the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service. This 2020 edition of SUV, intercepted while being ferried through the waterways, is another instance, and together with 19 others, the customs said contravened extant law on land importation of vehicles.
Now that it was found and intercepted inside the bush, there's no way it can pay duty. As a matter of fact, I'm waiting for anybody who will come to claim this vehicle, and I will just handcuff him and we'll go to court on it.
The lesson going forward, the unit says, unraveling concealment like the one surrounding the importation of these 20 drums of carbide has been made easy. The worries, however, according to the customs, revolve around national security and public health, which this type of consignment could generate.
This one is a critical substance that is used in making IED.
Similar to these is the interception of 42 pieces of military camouflage bags and 242 parcels of cannabis sativa, a development which the Federal Operations Unit Zone A believes could fuel insecurity. The total duty paid value of seizures within the month of August is close to 580 million naira, while 46 million naira was recovered from underpayments and undervaluation of imported items. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages, and after that we'll head straight to Ibadan, where Kemi is standing by with updates.
Harmony of biodiversity destroyed, birthing climate crisis and crime phases.
Dicey situation indeed, yet we carry on like a bull in a china shop.
On environment matters, we take the bull by the horns, comb the nooks and cranny of Nigeria.
Asking tough questions,
examining challenges and opportunities,
giving human face to the science, facts, faiths, and global agreements. It's a call for action. Don't miss it.
Join award-winning environmental journalist Jennifer Igwe and other NTA Eco reporters for Environment Matters.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
hope itself is life. Once you lose hope, you lose life. Once people get lifted to a certain level, they start feeling godlike.
What would you attribute this backwardness in education to in the North today?
I feel what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. The program is reflection.
Welcome to Ibadan. A hotel building at the Awoshika Avenue of Ibadan has collapsed. The ongoing construction, which partially collapsed at its initial stage, finally crumbled after defying government's order to stop work. Grace Ayoleke is at the site of the collapse for an on-the-spot assessment. Grace, what's the situation there?
Thank you, Kemi. Information gathered at the scene of the collapse reveals that the three-story building under construction caved in at about 5 a.m. this morning. I have here with me Godia Madala, who is a security guard in the neighborhood. He is a first responder who helped to rescue some of the victims trapped under the rubble.
Early morning, we are sleeping, we just hear something, building is falling down. So we go there and try to bring some people that they are inside the building. Early morning, it's about 4 or 5 people like this. So the others, with other people that were together, so we help them to at least to bring them outside.
The state coordinator of the Standard Organization of Nigeria, Mr. Adetoye Adeyinka, is also here to tell us about the material used in this construction to have made it crumble like this.
From physical, observation, we have seen that most of these things is discovered that in some pillar there, I took some pictures. I see that they mix some of these iron rods. I saw 10 mm with about the smallest size of the pipes, of the 12 mm and 20 mm mixed together, to cast a pillar.
About 5 people were injured, but no life was lost, and those people are receiving treatment as you see Ibadan here.
For now, the place has been sealed and investigation is ongoing to ascertain the real cause of the collapse. It's back to you, Kemi, in the studio.
Thank you, Grace. Sequel to the suspension of strike action by the non-academic staff of universities, work has commenced at the University of Ibadan. Correspondent Shola Wahid visited the campus and now reports.
Union of the non-academic staff of universities had gone on nationwide strike to demand for improved working conditions, among other requests. Leaders of the unions met and agreed to suspend the strike, directing members to resume official duties fully. At the University of Ibadan, non-academic staff are committed performing their statutory duties.
Since the non-teaching unions have suspended their strike, members of staff have resumed work. If you go around the campus now, if you go to all the offices, you see them.
Academic work in the university is hinged on teaching, research, and community service. Of this, only teaching component is affected by the strike.
Along with the directive of the national leadership of the union, SANO specifically, that we should resume work in our various offices, we have actually resumed work. But I'm also, it has not been easy working without money, particularly that we have not received our salary for the past 5 months.
So far, the campus is devoid of the usual hustling and bustling as students are not around. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
From Ibadan, it's back to Abuja.
Thank you so much, Kemi. President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with Chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, on his 69th birthday, September 9, 2022. In a congratulatory message, President Buhari affirms the dynamic leadership roles of the chairman of NDLEA has played in shaping the history of the country as governor and military administrator, investing in people and infrastructure, as well as his recent reforms in the NDLEA to rid the country of drug traffickers. He prays Almighty God to grant the NDLEA chairman more courage, strength, and wisdom as he serves the country. Now to political matters. The chairman, Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Walid Jibrin, has resigned. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that Senator Walid stated this at the ongoing PDP Board of Trustees meeting in Abuja. He said this is to ensure the PDP candidate, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, wins the 2023 election. Former President of the Senate, Adolphus Wabara, has emerged acting chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees. Meanwhile, the party says it remains as one united family, with all contending issues being resolved before the 2023 general elections. This was part of resolutions reached at the end of the party's national caucus meeting held in Abuja. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports.
This national caucus meeting is the first leg of the PDP scheduled national organs meetings. The BOT and the National Executive Committee meetings expected next. Presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, Chairman PDP Governors Forum Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, some PDP governors, party leaders and elders, as well as members of the National Working Committee, led by the National Chairman Senator Yocha Ayu, attended the meeting.
We are set to go. We're ready. The organs of the party are working. You can see that this is a party that truly a party. That every decision of this party is in line with the constitution of our party, and we go through all our processes through the organs of the party in line with all the regulations, the constitution, and are provided for. So we're doing well. We're happy. The chairman is there.
Resolutions from this meeting are expected to be communicated to NEC. Outside the venue of the meeting was a different scenario as party leaders depart. It was a call for the resignation of the PDP National Chairman Yoche, alleging that the North is occupying the topmost positions in the party.
We need justice! Justice for all! We need justice! Justice for all!
The party's board of trustees meeting, and to be followed by NEC, will further clarify the stability within the PDP family going forward. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
It's time to head to Jos, where Zinret is standing by with some reports for us. Nice to see you, Zinret.
Good to see you too, Elizabeth, and welcome to Jos. The General Officer Commanding 3 Division of the Nigerian Army and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Ibrahim Ali, says he will sustain training of officers to enable them deal decisively with emerging security threats. This was while declaring open the 3 Division Inter-Brigade Combat Proficiency Competition. Inauguration and Abuja reports.
The competition aims at sharpening the skills and competencies of participants in line with the Chief of Army Staff's training directives for the year 2022. Major General Ali explains that the training is a cardinal pillar of the Chief of Army Staff's vision, which is having a professional Nigerian army ready to accomplish assigned mission within a joint environment in defense of the country. He added that the country is bedeviled by security challenges. As a result, the armed forces have continued to upscale training and retraining of personnel to curb the menace.
The competition is organized to develop the spirit of competition, cooperation, and teamwork needed in the accomplishment of missions and tasks. I therefore urge all the participants to engage in healthy competition during this week-long training exercise.
The commander at 3 Division Garrison, Brigadier General Michael Agi, appreciates the General Officer Commanding for encouraging healthy competition among officers of the division, urging the participants to make use of the week-long competition to develop new combat skills and modern warfare techniques. In Jos, Inauguration and Abuja, NTA News.
Plateau State Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps is attributing the reduction in road crashes to intense sensitization, proper monitoring, and proactiveness of personnel. The State Commander of the Corps, Alphonsus Godwin, stated this while reviewing the activities of the command. Yildiz Danladi has details.
Reviewing the activities of the command, the commander described as successful the sensitization carried out at motor parks, worship centers, and major streets in Jos Metropolis. He says the awareness is paying off as only 5 fatal accidents were recorded within the period under review compared to previous years.
The level of fatality is quite appreciable, and it's all due to the level of sensitization, the enforcement of our men on the road, and the visibility we have. Where these crashes happen, we deploy men to slow down the traffic.
While cautioning motorists to avoid the use of bad tires and phones while driving, he urged them to assist the command by complying with traffic rules for their safety.
People should obey them. People should not fear them. People should obey traffic rules and regulations and avoid them being penalized. That is the only way they will enjoy being on the road.
He says the command will intensify patrol and bring to book motorists violating traffic rules. In Jos, Yelik Danladi, NTA News.
That's it from here. Nationwide continues with Obehi in Benin after this break.
Why should we be in a difficult situation financially?
Once upon a time we were rich, but we're not a rich country anymore.
Disaster management is everybody's business.
In all these times, the organization turned to Nigeria.
We would as much want to harness the capacity that is within us so that we see how we can become self-reliant.
1 month ended and you said you are increasing warning strike by 2 months. I mean, you are incubating madness.
Even if these are officials of government who have been told to go and enforce the law and they have gone against the law itself, they must be held accountable.
One-on-One, Friday, 10:30 p.m. on NTA Network.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
I'm fascinated with the discourse on national monuments and assets and how much is being done to preserve and
celebrate. Look at the language issue. We have turned English to become like a pride value in our own cultural values.
It's not cash transfer. It's not a COVID-19.
Invasion 1897 was a deliberate
you know, many of these people coming to the urban areas now.
These and applications, there are terms and conditions.
Of course, it is the union of two people, a man and a woman coming together.
My name is Nambi Odiko.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori.
Hello and welcome to Benin. Edo State Police Command has paraded one Dr. Abbas Adebowale Adeyemi for the alleged murder of a 39-year-old cab driver, Emmanuel Yobo, in Benin City, Edo State. Good Luck Inaini reports that the suspect was arrested in Osun State.
Year-old Dr. Abbas, who claimed to be a staff of General Hospital in Kayama, Kwara State, hails from Ede in Osun State and is a graduate of the University of Ilorin. He was alleged to have engaged the service of the deceased, who hails from Delta State, however resides in Edo State. The suspect, under the guise of treating the deceased for leg pains, administered a concoction of lethal substances through an injection into his alleged victim. The police got wind of the matter after the wife of the deceased reported that her husband told her he was going to see his doctor friend in a hotel at GRA Benin City for treatment and did not return after several unanswered calls. The police deployed the use of technology and tracked the vehicle with the assistance of the Osun Police Command.
He left the victim in the car, his own vehicle, and after some time took him away to Oluku side when going to Ondo by the bypass there and dumped the body.
Medical Director, Police Hospital, Benin, Margaret Oyakiri, lists some of the items and chemicals found in possession of the suspects.
We have 5 full vials of 10 milligram of diazepam. Diazepam is a sedative. And 1 bottle that has been used.
Wife of the deceased is demanding for justice, just as the suspect pleaded for forgiveness.
Because he paid me so much that he just killed my husband away from us.
There was no motive whatsoever to harm him. He is a friend.
The spokesperson for the command, Chidinwa Abuja, says the suspect will face prosecution at the conclusion of ongoing investigations. In Benin, Goodluck Inaini, NTA News.
Ekiti State government has flagged off a free cervical cancer secondary prevention pilot project in the state. Wife of the governor, Erelu Bisi Fayemi, said the project, which targets 500 women, is to promote healthy living. Kola Adebabui has details.
Identified the need to promote the culture of healthy living and champion for eradication of cancer, the wife of the governor, Erelu Bisi Fayemi, said the free cervical cancer secondary prevention pilot project was facilitated to alleviate the burden of cancer, promote prevention and management in the state. She said 10 facilities, including in Ado-Ekiti, Ikere-Ekiti, Ijero-Ekiti, and Otu-Ekiti, have been selected for the screening and urged women to avail themselves for the exercise.
If we do not benefit from the free services, a time will come when we have to pay between 15 to 20,000 naira to access the treatment. And I believe that that is fair enough for women who want to live a long and healthy life. For women who want to be able to reap the growth of their labor, that also.
We started off recognizing that there is a higher burden, increasingly higher burden of non-communicable diseases in country, and it is not left out of this. We looked into, specifically in this instance, the burden of cancer in the state. We have developed a cancer policy.
Highlights of the ceremony was launch of the State Cancer Control Policy and Plan 2022 to 2026 by the governor's wife in Ado-Ekiti, Kola Adebabui, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. We return now to Elizabeth in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Obehi. To improve the nutritional standard of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program of the federal government, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Nutrition Society of Nigeria to strengthen the program. Ruth Aguele reports.
This is one of the largest, if not the largest, school feeding program in Africa. This is one of the programs that development partners are genuinely happy about.
Health of the child has increased as well and has also assisted farmers in extending their farming to the extent of meeting the demand of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program.
Attestation on gains of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program that has continued to motivate learning across the country. To further raise the bar, a partnership is sealed between the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, and the Nutritional Society of Nigeria to provide support, enhance nutritional standard of the program, and improve educational performance of pupils in public schools.
The signing of this MOU came as a result of long-term preparation and partnership discussions between the ministry and the NSM, and we hope that it is going to yield very fruitful outcomes for the country.
The desire by this ministry and our society to ensure that the program is not just another program, but it's a program that is going to deliver quality nutrition to Nigerian children across the Federation.
This Memorandum of Understanding comes as part of recommendations to review the school feeding program by engaging more partners that will add value to meet global practice. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
So education, internally displaced persons of school age in Benue State are passionately calling on government to provide educational facilities and adequate security in their various communities to fast-track return of their ancestral homes. The call follows the inability of some of the displaced persons to access formal education in a safe environment. As the global community marks Literacy Day, Moses Ode interacted with some IDPs.
Statistics from the Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, indicates that over 1.5 million people have been displaced and many living in IDP camps following reported cases of clashes, which have affected 7 local government areas of Benue State. These attacks have left many young girls vulnerable to abuses within and outside the camps, while the displaced children are left with limited or no access to formal education. Despite effort by some organizations and good-spirited individuals in providing free learning for children at the camp, their parents still believe that when they return to their ancestral homes, the children's education will be better enhanced.
When the children don't go to school, they will render useless, become useless. Some of them will not go to school, and I feel that is going to affect them drastically in the future, that they will not have a way of sustaining themselves.
A widow with 3 children and a volunteer teacher at a makeshift school in one of the camps says she took up the responsibility to impart knowledge on the younger ones.
My children also are here. And also I'm a member of IDP because right now I'm not in my community. So I have to consider these IDPs.
Even the school there, they didn't even want to go to that school there. But if it is our own village here, they will lack it most.
Agatu, Goma, Logo, and Makudi local government areas are among those mostly affected by this crisis across the state. In Makudi, Moses Ode, NTA News.
All is now set for the resumption of primary and secondary schools in the Federal Capital Territory for the new academic session, which begins on the 12th of September 2022. Hadiza Godwin-Ibuni had a chat with the chairman, FCT Education Secretariat, Sani El Katuzu, who says the FCT administration will leave nothing to chance at ensuring adequate security for all students.
Visits to some schools in the Federal Capital Territory revealed ongoing efforts at sanitation, with the school management putting all things together in readiness to receive students for the 2022-2023 academic session. Last session, the Education Secretariat took precautionary measures against insecurity threats. The Secretariat says it has never doubted the ability of the nation's security forces to ensure adequate protection of all citizens, including students across the territory.
Our parents and guardians that schools will open the day we said they are going to open, and that when students and pupils are coming back to school, all parents should rest assured that their security has been taken care of immensely, more than before.
Owing to the insecurities prevailing in the country, we also try to ensure that we take education very close to the community once they can sustain the enrollments.
For FCT schools, I think government has done so much to ensure that its schools are secured.
Educationists and staff expressed eagerness to commence impacting knowledge on students and confirmed that academic work will commence immediately the students resume.
Very, very sad. I can see the environment. I've started doing the cleaning already. The hostels are being cleaned, fumigated. Even the environment are already fumigated.
The teachers are ready. As you can see, the record has been filled. All the scheme of work for first, second, and third term are already written in the diaries.
FCT schools had closed in July 2022 and proceeded for a 2-month holiday, having successfully concluded the third-term academic session. Hadiza Godwin-Ibuni, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has launched an educational scheme to give school dropout a second chance to pursue their educational career. Aliut Tijani reports that the Universal Basic Education Commission inaugurated the Second Chance Model School in Nasarawa State.
Second Chance Model School is the initiative of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, to cater for the education needs of out-of-school married women, young girls and widows, so as to give them basic education and entrepreneurial skills for self-reliance.
It will enable me to be self-reliant and to be able to take care of myself after the education.
The school, furnished with the state-of-art facilities and workshops for tailoring, knitting and computer education, also has nursery session for children. Located in Kurmintegoi community of Akwanga local government area, the school is the pilot project expected to be replicated in other parts of the country.
I think that's the best we can do to our younger generation, to provide them with hope, to provide them with the opportunity and the ability to safeguard our future as a nation.
Governor Abdullahi Sule, who inaugurates the school, laus the vision of UBEC towards ensuring equal access to education for all in the country.
So, sir, when you ask me about a model school that we are going to build for women, one, because I believe in education. I don't have the kind of knowledge you have in education, but I believe very strongly in education. I'm committed to it.
Stakeholders highlight importance of education and skill acquisition, describing the Second Chance School model as a one-stop solution to fight literacy in the society. Aliut Tijani, NTA News.
Government is exploring every opportunity to be self-sufficient in food production, especially leveraging research in science and technology undertaken by Federal Universities of Agriculture. This is the mandate handed down to the inaugurated governing councils of 4 Federal Universities of Agriculture, whose inaugurations were delayed by bureaucratic bottlenecks.
Your work is already cut out for you in line with the federal government belief in agriculture as the solution to married or socioeconomic problems, and this is one of the reasons for the establishment of Federal Universities of Agriculture.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education says it will not give in to any threats over its unity schools. This was at a media briefing to mark this year's International Day to protect education from attacks.
The ministry strategically chose the theme, implementing school safety policy as a tool to protect education from attack, our collective responsibility.
In the meantime, the ministry is assuring women of protection of their rights to education. This was at an engagement with a non-governmental organization for literacy support services on the International Literacy Day.
We have also been putting a lot of things in place to make sure that we educate as many people as possible.
We appeal that you direct special schools with facilities for people living with disability to implement non-formal education services.
8th of September has been declared by the UN as International Literacy Day. In a bit from the foreign scene, Queen Elizabeth is under medical supervision at the Balmoral after doctors became concerned for her health. Obiageli Uwoke tells us more.
British Prime Minister Liz Truss convened a new-look cabinet Wednesday on her first full day in office to trash out an economic support package and forestall an energy crisis linked to the war in Ukraine. In her first contact with foreign leaders, the new conservative leader spoke late Tuesday by phone to Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky and then US President Joe Biden. Before facing her first session of Prime Minister's questions in Parliament later Wednesday, Truss met her senior ministers to tackle the most pressing question at home.
We do apologize for that mix-up. That was Justin Bemoy's on Liz Truss's engagement. The federal government has inaugurated a donors forum with the mission of meeting the 2023 census funding gap worth more than 681 billion naira. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at a breakfast meeting with development partners, international and local organizations in Abuja assures of Nigerian government's determination to judiciously utilize every resource towards the forthcoming 2023 census process in Nigeria. Olusheye Adeagbo reports. Come subsequently in our bulletins. The federal government wants Nigerian Medical Association to counsel young resident doctors on the need to give back to society and desist from traveling abroad for greener pastures. The head of civil service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, made the call when the leadership of NMA visited her in Abuja. Haman Jabani reports.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, expressed concern over the rate at which resident doctors travel abroad for practice and urged the association to always complement the effort of government in effective healthcare delivery in the country, as the present administration will continue to provide an enabling environment for them to excel in their profession. Head of the Civil Service enjoined the doctors to be considerate in their demands, having in mind the dwindling government revenue.
Let use us to gauge the need. And when we give you advice, please do. It's not because we don't want doctors to earn plenty, but there is a time that you should do it.
President of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Uche Roland Ojima, commended the head of civil service of the Federation for her reformative contributions in repositioning the federal civil service for greater performance and national economic growth. Haman Jabani, NTA News.
And members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm have been advised to pay critical attention to their health and take advantage of healthcare services available at their beck and call. Medical experts at an outreach advocate regular medical checks, especially for the eyes. Globally, journalists strive to meet deadlines and make history in a hurry. Aminu Adamu is a program producer at Radio Nigeria, one of such media practitioners with a routine, and he's taken advantage of the medical services by the excellent leadership for sustainable development and good governance. His colleagues are also beneficiaries, and they say equipping primary health care facilities across the nation will go a long way in making healthcare more accessible to all Nigerians.
It is only when we are aware, we are strong, that we're able to give in your best.
A journalist can just jump up in the morning from one event to the other. He comes back in the evening to the newsroom. He finds story. He leaves the office in the night. Tomorrow again, the same thing. Journalists need to be able to have their health intact so that they can be able to contribute to the growth of the society.
Don't be tribalized. Don't be sentimental. Do your job well, and the society will remember you for just that.
Checks range from blood pressure and eye test. They urge media practitioners to maintain a healthy lifestyle and remain professional in carrying out their duties. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News. The National Human Rights Commission says it will continue to work with relevant stakeholders to ensure press freedom that will engender good governance in the country. Omenka Amarachukwu was at an event organized by the Commission to put in perspective the fundamental rights of journalists in line of duty.
The Freedom of Information Act 2011 guaranteed press freedom, which also allowed media practitioners to access information freely and the opportunity to contribute their quota to nation building. The National Human Rights Commission, having come to terms with this fact that these human rights and fundamental rights are being violated in some cases, is all out to render necessary support to the media practitioners who suffer any form of human rights abuses in line of its duty with regards to international best practices. For the Commission, it is also to buttress the point that journalists are indeed the conscience of any modern society, as they are often referred.
There is no gainsaying that the media have consistently kept the public abreast with information on diverse issues, and this has not only assisted citizens to demand accountability from the leaders, but has also enhanced citizen participation in governance as people engage in discussions about their governance.
We want to urge you that you continue in this partnership and be rest assured of our commitment and our vow to support what you're doing at this commission.
To achieve all this, and as well as promote and protect human rights of Nigerians, comes the need for collaboration between the Commission and the media. In Abuja, Umeka Marachku, NTA News.
Queen Elizabeth, who is Britain's longest serving monarch, is under medical supervision at the Balmoral Castle in Scotland after doctors became concerned for her health. Information from our official residence in Buckingham Palace indicate that the Queen's doctors recommend she remains under medical supervision. And that ends Nationwide today. Thank you so much for watching. Do remember to always connect with us at the NTA. Stand against rape and rapists. I'm Elizabeth Omori.